Mental health in India, Western trend, cultural context, or human need. Namaskar and welcome to Daily Mind Matter. I am Sanjeev K. Soin. Today we will explore mental health from a slightly different angle. When a person cuts a finger, the pain is real. We may not see the pain itself, but we recognize it through human experience. Similarly, emotions such as anger, grief, happiness, sadness, fear, jealousy, love, and emotional suffering are also real experiences. Yet, unlike a physical wound, these experiences are often subjective and difficult to measure directly. This raises an important question: how do we understand mental health as a scientific reality, a cultural interpretation, or a human experience? To help us explore this topic, I am joined by Ms. Reshmi and Mr. Azeez. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Let us begin with my first question. My first statement is mental health, real health. We expanded this topic from our previous last sessions discussion. The statements like many people accept physical illness because it can often be seen, measured, or tested. Mental experiences such as sadness, fear, grief, hope, or emotional pain are different. We experience them, but they are largely subjective. My question is, how does science understand and validate these inner experiences? And can something be considered real even if it cannot be directly observed like a physical injury? Ms. Rashmi, may I begin with you?
Yeah, sure. Good evening, Sanjeev. Yes,
Good evening.
actually, like you mentioned, in physical illness, we see a rise in temperature or some kind of very visible symptoms are seen. And we are very observant. But I think, first of all, the symptoms that you see in a mental, if it is something to do with mental illness, is something that we tend to ignore. Anger, okay, that's fine. That they're just the day is bad, or we just rule it out like that. We don't give much attention. At least that was the case so far. And sometimes we don't see these uh, symptoms, or we don't notice because they are very subtle in the initial level, and we don't tend to notice, and we have this tendency of ignoring these small symptoms of subtle symptoms of mental health issues, because we are not tuned to do that. But now there are initiatives by from school. We are observing children, their behavior. Also in corporate world, they are having counselors or such help where their behaviors are assessed. So I think there is something in the Indian culture also that we tend to take, there are a lot of, we tend to bear things for longer period of time, and that is seen as strength. I was seeing this interesting thing about quitting. You take a lot of pressure and don't want to quit because it is seen as a uh, not winning. It's like losing. Quitting is like losing. So I think we have certain built-in belief systems which make us prolong to do certain things even if we are not happy with it. So we are not trained for that. We are not taught in school how to deal with these emotions. That is the main thing that I want to say. I think what the topic you're talking about, like you're discussing, or the topic you brought about, is about realizing or understanding when is that, which is that trigger, which is that point where we should feel that there is a serious issue that needs to be looked into. We don't know that. We are not taught. Nowhere this is discussed, nor it is taught. So I think it is high time in school the children are taught how, which is that point where they are losing, and not to and to say no to certain things, and when they feel that they are pressurized, they should know when to quit. So we are not taught that. We kind of take in a lot of emotions, keep it suppressed, and maybe one fine day it just comes out and that becomes too late. So I think this is a process which has to start quite early to understand our own emotion. When are we losing it? Which is that point that we need to, start teaching this early in the childhood. Only then I think we can understand, and maybe others also can understand the change in behavior, because nowadays by the time we understand that, it's too late. So my major underlining fact would be that we should start early. We should start teaching children early how to balance these emotions, and
Yeah,
when to know that they are having an issue and it has to be discussed with someone. They have to talk to someone. That must be taught to them.
yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Aziz. Your perspective on this matter, like the mental health, is real as we are expanding this statement again, Mr. Aziz. Mr. Aziz,
Yeah, thanks for having me here. In
thank you.
my view, I think we are aware of the slightest variations of our mind, mindscapes. We are aware of that. Especially children are not only the children, but the matured people are also. Everybody, human being are aware of the slightest mental variations, mental vibrations, it's like seismic pressure, it's from our innermost feelings, and emotions. Even animals also, I remember one, in our sessions in Chidambaram, I asked Mr. Christopher sir about this. Sir, is there any psychology for animals, like animal behavior? We are
Okay.
all the human being, the behavioral changes, the narcissistic tendency or schizophrenia or any other psychic disorder or vibrations, So we had a long talk after the class, and he told me that it's a wonderful question because, if we listen, if we observe the animals, they realize the seismic changes, like they can predict or they can realize the earthquake or tsunami, like that. We feel our innermost, behavioral changes or variations or vibrations. But the problem is, as Reshmi said, we are not approaching the psychologists, Today
Yeah.
also one client told me that it is needed the psychotherapy or hypnotism is needed because, she is very poor. She earns not so much money for her livelihood. She's, panic about the day-to-day life
Oh,
expenditure. That's why petrol hike is here, inflation is here. That's why people are not ready to approach the psychologists, because psychologists are
exactly. Right, right.
well paid professionals. That's why the problem is not the awareness. We realize our innermost variations. We realize our physical changes and mental changes, but our circumstances, our socio-economic circumstances demotivate us or pulling back to withdraw from our innermost feelings. Thank you.
Well said.
I
So,
just
what does
want
it
to
mean,
add one
Kiwi?
thing. Can I
Yeah,
add just one thing there? See, socioeconomic, yeah, that is in a lower strata. But even in middle class or upper middle class, people are not ready to, take a help for mental issue. But if it is a physical, issue, any kind of illness, they instantly go. They don't, these days, they don't wait. There are no home remedies anymore. Initially when we were young, if there is a slight cold or fever, we go with home remedies. Nowadays, that trend is not there. They immediately consult doctor. But when it is a mental issue, be it they are financially quite well off, okay, but still they hesitate. There is a slight hesitation. Should we? There is a second thought that comes. They
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
approach
It's kind of you can
with
say
a
stigma.
physician.
It's a
Yeah,
stigma. It's a
stigma,
stigma. Yeah.
yeah, or yeah, probably, and they think, is it really required? Like if it is a fever, they don't give a second thought, they immediately go to a physician. But if it is a mental problem, issue, where they are, there is some kind of disturbance, they don't take an immediate action. They
Exactly.
delay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just about the economical factor. I feel we are still not ready to deal with it like how we deal with our body. So coming to the definition of WHO, a healthy person is mentally and physically healthy, but we are
Exactly.
still at the physical health. We have still haven't come to deal with the mental health as with that seriousness as physical health. So that is still there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, the thing is that the one is the stigma in the society. The people are who are very elite in group. I mean, these
Exactly.
people they have the fear of like the stigmatization. Someone do the stigma, and the people who are not very well versed and not very much educated, and some
Exactly.
the people are illiterate also as well as they don't even know about this kind of terminology, the sort of jargons, or maybe you can say the what mental health is all about, right? They're fighting with their basic needs only. So even
Yes.
they are uneducated, somehow the education plays the vital role here also, right? So
Yes.
we move to our next question. The question is the roots of psychological knowledge. Roots of psychological knowledge. Many psychological theories originated in the West. For example, Freud developed psychoanalysis and remained one of the most influential figures in psychology. Historical records also show that he experimented with cocaine during part of his life. This raises an interesting philosophical question. Can valuable theories emerge from individuals whose personal lives contain contradictions? Should we judge a theory by the character of its creator or by the evidence supporting it? Mr. Aziz, let me begin with you. Mr. Aziz, are you getting my question? Mr. Aziz,
Yes, yes,
I'm audible?
yes,
Getting my question?
yes. It's audible. I heard your question. I think, in my view, most of the psychologists, we are learning, or we are hypothetically or theoretically, we are discussing about psychology or psychological theories are based on Western theories or Western psychologists, because they have depth, they know the innermost feelings and neurological changes, or especially Sigmund Freud. He was a well-known neuroscientist, like neurologist. In his view, most of the physical changes, like people, most of the clients, most of the deceased persons approached him were null, like they don't have physical deficiencies. They are feeling that they have pain. That's why why we depend on Western philosophy of psychology is because like they are interpreting the dream. There is a book of Freud, Interpretations of Dream. In that book, he's describing about many patients, like most of them approached him frequently, and he's interpreting their dreams. he's digging upon the mind and physics, So there is a harmony between body and mind. Most of the Western, I'm not devaluing the Indian philosophy of Indian mythology of, like body and mind, the harmony between body and mindfulness. I'm not devaluing the Indian philosophy. But even though, why we are always talking about Western philosophy? Because Western philosophy or Western psychology is mostly based on realities. Because Freud also Freud is in his book, Interpretation of Dreams, he focus on the reality faced by, the physical pain faced by the patients or the clients. Actually, by the test or by the neurological test or by the empirical test, Freud couldn't find any sign of physical vulnerability or physical harmfulness. But even though the patients feel pain, why? Because they lack something. They lack sexuality, or they lack sexual pleasure, or they lack sexual life, or they lack, the mindfulness in marriage life and the family life.
Yeah, that's
Something lack,
related. Yeah,
they
a
lack
related.
emotionality. They lack the bond between husband and wife. They lack the bond between brother and sister. They lack the bond between father and son. That's why, he's interpreting the dreams. He's interpreting one dream about he and his family went for a tour, tour program, and his son could not attend one tourist place like a garden nearby. So by the time lack or time delay or something, he was very busy. That's why he couldn't bring his son and family to the nearest tourist spot. But his son is dreaming about that tourist spot, despite they didn't see that tourist spot. So what is our dream, and what's our dream says, or what is the relationship between our dream and present time, or future tense, or any other tense forms, is very complicated. And that's why we depend on mostly on Western theories, on psychology, rather than Indian philosophy, because Indian philosophy is mainly based on mythology. And I don't deny about the empirical forms of Indian scenario, but even though Western philosophy is deep rooted in our soul or mind, or the harmony between body and mind.
No, you see, a related question like that. Carl Jung explored mythology, religion, symbolism, and tradition from a many cultural, including India. You can see he has denoted the terminology like animas, anima, symbol, and you can say the persona, as well as like Arthanarishwar. You can see that, right? So the theory they generated out of the Indian context, and we are still Indian reading that. So this mythological point of view, some people feel that Indians often rediscover aspect of their own heritage through Western interpretation. So do you think India has overlooked some of its own psychological wisdom while adopting Western framework? Ms. Rashmi, your thoughts on this, please?
Can I say one more one more point?
Yes, sure,
I
sure,
don't-
sure,
I
sure,
don't-
sure. Do you think India has overlooked
yeah,
some of its own
yes, yes.
psychological wisdom while adopting Western framework?
Yeah, for example, if we go through Carl Gustav Jung, he focus on archetypes, shadows, and designs. These are the I think the Indian or pan-Indian and Greek philosophy of mythological characters and designs. Characters Puranic characters or legendary characters. My gene may be from Bhimasena or maybe from Pandavas or Karna or from any other character from Mahabharata or Ramayana.
Right.
Like,
No,
so
right,
it's
right.
all- maybe Vyasa or Valmiki, the
Oh,
saint
no.
Valmiki,
It's all right.
picturizes the vast and wide Indian scenario of different kinds of people, different kinds of behavioral characteristics. That's why we got a wonderful, Ramayana and Mahabharata. So, Carl Gustav Jung focuses on, like the transference of genes, through the designs or archetypes or shadows. These archetypes or shadows or designs, comes from Persia, maybe, uh, uh, Central Asia means, I think, Persia. So our Brahmins or Aryans are from Persian. So these, people, human being originated in Africa, and the widespread of people, widespread of behavioral changes, widespread of evolutionary changes depicts our collective unconsciousness, which have varieties of archetypes, shadows, and designs. So I'm not denying the Indian philosophy, but I like Western philosophy because it depicts
Okay.
the varieties of philosophies, mixture of culture, multiculturalism, and so on. That's why. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. So we move our towards our next question, science and the question of normality. Let us discuss science itself. Psychology often studies abnormal behavior and mental disorder, but this raises a difficult question: how do we determine what is normal? What is normal? Is there a scientific tool that can definitely measure normality, or does normality vary according to culture, society, and historical context? Mr. Aziz, your perspective on this? What we understand by normal? Understanding the abnormal behavior.
We psychologists are dealing with abnormalities, but we know that even though we are dealing with the abnormalities of the people, we have also abnormalities, some kind of abnormalities. We
You
lack
don't
some.
know what is normal. Who is to decide what is
Who's
normal?
That's
to
the
define
question.
this normal?
What is normal is the
Yeah,
question.
who is to decide that? But
Yes.
90%
No, there is actually.
average is
I
not
I
a.
Yes.
I
I have
see.
gone through the
Even if you
DSM
take
three.
scientifically, BP, what is normal blood pressure?
Actually,
It's an
that's the
average of
state.
few
That's the
people,
state.
few
State.
thousands of people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So individually, we have to analyze what is that person's normal behavior, right? And which is socially acceptable. Now, again, that cannot define something, as normal. Just because the person is not behaving, like a 90% of the population doesn't define that he's abnormal, he or she is abnormal.
No, you see, for example, many of doing the making reels and doing dancing for IG, Instagram, or maybe some reels they're making. So what does it mean? I'm supposed to be. I don't make any reel and don't dance and don't show off myself online on any social media platform. What does it mean? That I'm not part of that group. So that means I'm not normal. So I should make reel and should dance and post on the IG, Instagram. So, what is normal and abnormal? We can say, well, to define normal is very tough. I think so, in my simple point of view, right?
Yes, it is. See, what I would say, that we should not say normal. We should say some behavior that might affect another person. That is where we should, or maybe that is the definition we should take, not normal or abnormal. If a person's behavior is affecting someone else, mentally or physically, then we need to do something about it.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. You can basically we are
This is what-
studying the abnormal behavior, not studying the abnormal. To understand
Exactly.
abnormal is very easy. To understand normal, what I understand, very tough.
Yeah. We very often make such judgment looking at a person's behavior, but maybe that person is very normal. Just the behavior doesn't mean is making that. See, if the person is able to live happily with whatever behavior he or she has, it's fine. The problem starts when that person himself or herself is not able to do day-to-day activities, okay, is not able to take care of themselves, and is affecting others also with their behavior. Then I think there must be an intervention to check what is happening with that person.
Yeah. It's really good. Yeah, thank
That is
you.
where we should
Yeah.
actually, that's what I feel. And broader definition, I would
Yeah.
feel that.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ms. Rashmi. So another related question: science can measure many things: height, weight, temperature, blood pressure, and even certain aspect of our brain activity. However, experiences such as love, grief, meaning, hope, motivation, and emotional pain remain deeply subjective. What are the strength and limitation of science when studying human experience? And anyone, Ms. Rashmi or maybe Mr. Aziz, uh, we can start the conversation with that question of that statement. Your opinions, please. The statement is like,
Mr. Azeez, he can talk. Is there? He's
One
not there.
second. 1 second, I need to check the
Yeah.
WhatsApp. The meeting will end in 5 minutes. So
Time
meeting will
alive.
end in 5 minutes. We have the time limit. So I think Mr. Aziz will left somewhere. I
No,
think
he's
so.
asking that the meeting finished.
Okay, yeah, I think so. I need to access the WhatsApp right now. Wait for a while.
He's asking some question whether the meeting is over.
So I think he left because some urgency. Yeah, Latin. Just do it Latin. Yeah, don't worry. Mr.
Okay.
Aziz, so don't worry. We have the time constraint. We already crossed 29 minutes. I think so.
Yes. So we'll do it in the next week.
Yeah, so we do that on next time. So next time we will start discussing on the things like the stigmatization and the other topics related to this, right? So we are right now winding up the session, and so before that, I'd like to say again, thank you very much, Mr. Aziz and Mr. Reshmi, joining this DailyMindMatter, and everyone, please do like, subscribe, and do pass comments, whatever comes in mind. Thank you for watching DailyMindMatter. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Aziz and Mr. Reshmi. Thank you very much.
You.
Shuldan, bye bye.
Thank you.
See you. Bye.
Thank you.